Hello, my hood people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we all doing at work in the United Kingdom? How are you all? So where do you work? Do you work with private sector or do you work in the NHS as an health care worker? A doctor, a nurse, a physiotherapist, a sonographer or sonologist? Yeah, what do you do precisely? How are you getting on? How is everything kicking around you? The people in our hood here have been complaining, honestly, that they are not satisfied with what is going on in the NHS. It is no longer news that so many things are going south in the NHS. People have been complaining. I know these people we deal with, they actually really know how to complain. Like, if you put water here, they will say, no, you should put oil. If you put oil, they will say, no, put palm oil. If you put palm oil, they will say, no, you should put gas, you should put hair, you should put argon, you should put helium, you should put different things. These people are never satisfied for whatsoever reason. If the bucket is full, they will tell you it is too full. They don't want it full. If it is half full, they will tell you it should be completely full. If it is completely full, they will say it should be empty. These people are never satisfied with anything. But then, for people who've been here for a while, do you think you are seeing any depletion or depreciation in the abilities or capabilities of the NHS and the NHS workers? The people here in the United Kingdom have so many things to say about their dissatisfaction with the NHS. In fact, the public satisfaction is at the lowest ebb. And for like the past few years, this particular year that we've just finished and the survey was held, showed that the level of trust, the level of respect, the level of satisfaction for the NHS is waning, and like speedily too, is really depreciating fast. So the public satisfaction has reduced before, but then it has also reduced further this particular year that we are talking about. That was the year we just completed, year 2023, and that year set the lowest record by as the long-running British Social Attitude Survey revealed. As per our discussion, less than a quarter of the people who participated in that survey we were talking about claimed they were satisfied with the NHS in the year that we just completed, year 2023. And in fact, the waiting times and staff shortages were the main things people really complained about. Honestly, they did say that it was just about 29% level of satisfaction, but now it has rapidly dropped another 5%. I pray it doesn't keep dropping like this, so because if it keeps dropping, then in the next 10 years everything would have likely, but I believe they would actually bring in policies that will help the NHS to bounce back. It wasn't too long ago that the NHS was scoring 70% satisfaction, and that was in the year 2010. People were quite happy. Honestly, if you've been working with the United Kingdom people, especially those who were on the ward before, you will just see it on them that they are not happy with what the NHS has turned to or what the NHS is turning to. To many of them, they don't believe that the NHS is sustainable or that the government will be able to sustain the NHS for long again. And they are many of them that are not happy. You know, at a particular point in time, the NHS was the pride of the UK, like a yardstick at which for measuring excellence in many health regions across the world. But then now we are seeing many people are not comfortable with. My goodness. You see, they are the gold standard measure of the public's view of the health surveys, which they've been running since 1983. But then, more than 3,000 were pulled in by the National Centre for Social Research across England, Wales, and Scotland in the autumn. And what they found out that was published by the Northfield Trust and King's Fund think tanks show once again that the performance are grossly reduced, and the deterioration is quite palpable. It's not getting better, but we can only be very hopeful. So, of the core services, the public was least satisfied with the accident and emergency and dentistry. I know this will be there. These two areas are quite concerning to many people, because the moment you finish with a patient, talking with them and saying, okay, I'll be referring you to the emergency department, for a case that you are sure that it is the emergency department that will be able to handle that, like let's assume someone who is on blood thinner had a fall and they banged their head, or they were just walking and a tree fell while they were walking and hit their head. You know, it's not something you want to manage at home, because you are thinking there could be possibility of intracranial hemorrhage. So you want to send them down to the accident and emergency department like immediately. And you want to believe or think that if the person is someone who's got capacity, then they should be very happy to just leave like immediately. But then you just see that people will be fit dragging, because they will ask you like 1,001 times, what is the waiting time in the accident and emergency unit? Honestly, the people at the emergency unit too are extremely overstretched, because it's not like they are there and they are sitting down doing nothing. There they are working their fingers to their marrows. They are working their skin to their marrows. They are working really hard. But it is quite unfortunate that the manpower is not catching up with the number of cases that they are attending to. It's quite unfortunate. I personally salute the people working in those core areas, because it's really horrendous. It's huge. Like sometimes some people will be saying, some of my friends working in the accident and emergency unit will be saying they are having 8 ambulances coming into the A&E at the same time. How would they cope with such situations? And it's not like the remuneration is extremely intriguing. I think the government should just do some things, make some special, add some special emoluments, add some special payments, some special rates to guys working at the accident and emergency unit. I know everybody deserves a raise, but then the people working at emergency units need to be specially remunerated. They need to be specially honored for what they are doing. Honestly, these guys are really pulling it big. I appreciate all of you guys working at the accident and emergency unit. Dentistry, talk of dentistry, it shouldn't be a big deal for the dental team, but then when COVID came, and you know, all the respiratory troubles will inject fears into the people that will be looking into people's mouth, because you are just looking directly, facing it directly. And so this created a whole level of unsurmountable backlog for the dental team. It is big. Like, you have patients coming back, calling, and you assess them, and after assessing them, sending them to the dental advisory team. Maybe you have a disposition of like 24 hours. Then like 48 hours, then they are coming back and saying they are still expecting that call, and their symptoms are getting worse. Honestly, it's been quite heavy on the dental team too. And I think staff shortage too is hitting deep into them, because I could see in the last few days that they've been putting out adverts outside there. They need international dentists. And so you can take this home too. If this is what you are doing, you are a dentist or your spouse is a dentist, you may want to look into getting your registration in the United Kingdom. And please come over to our Macedonia and help us, because we really need the help at this particular point in time. Please and please and please don't let us all our teeth remove, and we'll not be able to eat chicken, we'll not be able to break bones. Please come and help us in the Macedonia of our United Kingdom. We need your help. Okay, dokie. So, A&E and dentistry are the two major areas that people are mostly unsatisfied with. And I think the areas handling oncology too, people are not really happy with the waiting time of the people that need cancer care. As per social care too, the satisfaction level has fallen to 13%. And again, this is the lowest since the beginning of this survey. Like the survey that started in 2010, this is the lowest in social care. And how can you blame the people around the social care arena? They too are extremely short-staffed. They are very much short-staffed. And when people were asked about government choices on tax and spending on the NHS, 48% backed increasing taxes and spending more on the NHS. And 42% prefer to keep taxes and spending the same, and 6% backed reducing taxes and spending less. So some people want taxes to be increased, and so the increments to be spent on the NHS. You can see how much these people love their NHS. They are ready to sacrifice to keep it afloat of the wind that is blowing and about pushing the ship of the NHS down the sea. Honestly, if we all can have such things being implemented, I personally will appreciate it. Like, increase the tax. Honestly, increase the tax. It's not like I'm saying that I don't need money or I need money, but this is the NHS that has been keeping people healthy and helping people to sustain their health need and all that and all that. I'm sure people will come to beat me now that talking about increment of taxes. But if this is the thing that could keep the NHS, please, they should just do it and let this NHS function. Give us enough staff, and also ensure that we have gadgets. Gadgets are there anyway. Of course, there may be need to put in some more, but then I think we need more hands. Now let me tell you what this man said. I will give his name as SW. Has been left unable to work due to mobility and pain troubles after he had dual hip replacements. Been waiting for further management, and he did say he could not walk very far without having that excruciating pain. His words, I feel let down. I feel let down. And he said this, and this really break my heart reading this. The NHS is there to help you, not to make things worse. I feel they have treated me disdainfully. And see what he had to say about the nurses. He said the nurses are polite, are fond, and even my surgeon, but they are not providing the level of care required. And they know they are not providing the level of care required, but trying to deal with them is like banging your head against a brick wall. Honestly, it's really painful. Like when you know what to do and you are just unable to do because of so many things happening here and there. Not even politics now. you couldn't get to the patient at the time you should do them. You just have to go there and explain and explain. And honestly, like our slogan, who explanations help? Who help? Explanations that will not take the pains away. It's not being helpful to some people. That's why you see sometimes, these days too, in the United Kingdom, aggression to healthcare worker is increasing. If you call some numbers, the healthcare numbers, the first word you will hear will be that you are not to be rude to their staff. If you are doing that, then they will they will not be able to attend to you. But in those days, it wasn't so like that, because people are able to do their work when they should do them. There's another person, JM, from this trust that I will not mention the name. They did say that as we approach a general election, political parties should be frank and realistic about the challenges ahead of them if they are to turn this situation around. That's the troubles we are having with the NHS. Despite such low levels of satisfaction, the public continue to back the principles underpinning the NHS. The public are still in love with the idea of a publicly funded, free at the point of use NHS. That's the principle that is underpinning NHS. I know we started something like this in my nation sometimes ago, the National Health Insurance Scheme, but how sustainable that has been, I may not know. And it did not even get to the people that like possibly need them, the grassroots guys, not getting to the many people in the markets, not getting to the farmers back in the villages. But here, this NHS reaches down to everyone, to the fetus that were just conceived yesterday. Yeah, it reaches down to them, and to the person who's going to close their eyes in RIP in the next few seconds, it reaches down to that person. That's how the NHS has been. Yeah, so the idea of a publicly funded, free at point of use NHS, that's the principle. But they are losing confidence that it will support them and their loved ones in the best possible way when they need it. So this one is like catch-22. The positive, the ambivalence here can be felt like, and it is very, very loud. Now, what do you think about what is going on in the NHS if you are an NHS worker? In the social care world, if you are there, maybe you are a social worker, or maybe you are working in the care home, residential homes, you are an health care assistant, a support worker, a nurse, a doctor, a physiotherapist, an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, just name laboratory scientist or laboratory technician, all these roles in the hospitals, please, or in the social care world. How do you feel about this? Do you feel that the NHS is losing it, or the NHS leaders are losing it and all that? And what do you think? Do you support the idea of increment of taxation? And they say voters must now make NHS and care services the central issue of the general election. So anyone who's not having a robust plan for the NHS, you should just vote them out. Just vote no to them. So let's look at everything they are giving us, their manifestos now. As the general election is approaching, let's use those things as the yardstick to cast our votes. Anyone who's not supporting, who's not helping the NHS to grow, because whether we like it or not, we need these services to make life easy for ourselves. So after all this said and done, someone from the Health and Social Care Department, their spokesman, said progress was being made with some signs that the waiting list was falling. And I think I saw it somewhere. The Scottish government spokesperson also said other research showed people in Scotland were more satisfied with the way the NHS was run than this survey suggested. I may want to believe this, honestly, because if you see, I was in Scotland a few days ago, and I happened to have had a contact with some of my people there who were nurses, and to tell you, these guys are really balling hard. They are enjoying their work. They are doing their work with the whole of their heart. And honestly, except for the cold, I felt like I should just shift base like immediately. It was such a lovely experience there. Even their streets are much tidier than what I've seen around. Yeah, their roads are wider and bigger. The landscapes are welcoming, beautiful, all those things. And besides, the pay is yummy. Yummy. Let me say it the way my daughter used to say. The pay is yummy. Like, yeah, what people will be getting around when they are work for like 2 or 3 years, that's where they even start their band 4. Who won't like it? I like good things now. So if you are thinking of moving, you may just run down to Scotland. These people said that they are still enjoying their NHS. I pray you keep enjoying your NHS down there, and God help us to breathe on NHS England and other places where the NHS is struggling. Thank you very much. Have your say about what you've noticed that is going on in our NHS. Please have your say. And how do you think we can solve the problem? How can we solve the problem? They should recruit more. This is part of the things they should do. All this red listing. They should recruit more from other places, because if they are able to help themselves, I don't think they would have initiated the idea of overseas recruitment, and it shouldn't even stop. Even while you are working under the WHO guideline, the red list something, you can still put out your institutions adverts outside there, and people should apply for themselves. While they apply, then give them support, pastoral support, and enough monitoring. Sustainable monitoring, not the wish hunting monitoring, but sustainable monitoring that will help people to grow, and they will enjoy their work, and they will feel like coming back. Then let's staff. Staffing is extremely challenged in the NHS, in the bedside. Honestly, like, I've worked 1 to 15 patients in the clinical arena before. So how do you get to meet people's need in such situations? When we were thinking ahead in those days, that is 1 to 4. And you have to do everything you've got to do. So it's not like that easy. So please and please and please, staffing is very, very important. And the dental team to bring in people that would help. It's not good to go through the rigors of toothache. It's horrible. So please kindly help, and I pray the Lord helps the NHS to witness another beautiful season. Thank you, guys. Please have